this time this one was voted by you. It's the Xperia 1 Mark 5 versus Xperia 1 Mark 6 versus a mystery phone, which I think you're going to be happy to see at the end of the video. The way this one's going to work is I'm going to show you guys 3 photos. I'll give you guys my opinions on the quality, and then I'll give you guys 10 seconds to decide which one looks the best. That way we can eliminate any biases that you might have. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see what that mystery phone is. So this is the selfie video quality you can expect on these 3 phones. Right now you're hearing the Xperia 1 Mark 5, now you're hearing Xperia 1 Mark 6, and now you're hearing the mystery phone. How do they all sound? Which one looks the best? Let me know in the comments. And now, let's take some photos. Okay, so if you didn't already guess, I was indeed in Camden Town in the intro of this video. And here is that famous bridge shot which pretty much everybody takes when they go to Camden. Unsurprisingly, there's a lot of similarities between the 5 and the 6 here. And you might be able to guess which 2 are the 5 and 6 already, just based off of that. So the best thing to do here is get a little zoom in and see if we can spot any differences. Looking closely at this, I personally think the photo on the left looks a tiny bit sharper than the other 2. The photo on the right in general seems to be much brighter, which does look good, but I do prefer the more contrasty look on the other 2 photos. Now it's your turn. Come on, don't be shy, give it a go. Which one wins? And write that down, because at the end we can tally up the scores to see which phone performed the best. Picture 2. So if you've ever visited Camden Market, you'll know it's very unlikely that you'll get through there without ordering some kind of food. And this right here is a good, honest burger. And that was a tasty burger. Seriously, they should probably sponsor me. Anyway, there are subtle differences again, mainly with the depth of field. And this is natural bokeh that you're seeing here, because none of the phones were in portrait mode. Unless maybe the AI has added a little bit of that after the fact. But anyway, the photo on the left looks the most in focus, and you can really see that in the details on the bottle here. The center photo has a lot of blur and is the brightest, but it's not overexposed. The image on the right has a similar amount of blur as the center photo, and the colors on all 3 look good to me, but possibly with a bit more color saturation in the photo on the right. All right, now it's your turn. Go on. Channel your inner photography critic and let me know which one wins this one and why. Okay, so I took this one to see if there are any noticeable color science differences here, and honestly I'm struggling to see any significant differences in the color here. Nothing really jumps out at me. Maybe the photo on the left has slightly warmer tones, and that's about it. Let me know if you notice anything, and if not, it's okay. You can always just blame your monitor. Okay, this one's slightly different. To keep it simple, I'll just focus on the exposure here. The photo on the right is slightly underexposed, and you'll notice that the most in the foreground. But interestingly, the highlights are contained and are actually quite a bit brighter than the other 2. And there's actually a very good explanation for this, but I don't want to give anything away at this point, so I shall explain the reason for this a little later on in the video. So stick around. For me, the photo on the left seems to have done the best in terms of exposure. It's got good details, it's got good brightness, great shadow details, really accurate colors. And actually I like this photo so much that I did a black and white edit in Lightroom. I'll show you that right after you pick your winner for this photo. So go ahead, pick one. No pressure though. And now let's do a little video stabilization / HDR video test. This one is a challenging one, so I'll keep my opinion simple. Brighter exposure here on the left photo, best color tones in the center photo, and the color vibrance seems to be turned up on the right. And that's just my opinions. I'm more interested in what you have to say about this. Feel free to disagree with what I said in the comments, and I will be replying to those. So go ahead, leave a comment. Anyway, I'm just going to roll the next few photos for you guys, and then I'll join you again for the long range zoom test. Now finally, here we have some images with some big differences. Not just the obvious focal range difference, but there's also quite a big difference in the colors in these zoom ranges. Now you might have noticed this yourself, but the image on the left has better details at those longer distances, and overall it has cooler tones than the other two. The center photo is definitely a bit softer in those details, and the mystery phone is actually very sharp and very detailed, but it just can't see as far. I guess even phones can be nearsighted. Alright, now let's jump into some lower light settings. Right, this one is incredibly challenging for the lenses on the phones, that light that's right there in the middle of the photo is a new one. And this photo used to be really nice before they put that there. But anyway, you can see that the left and center pictures have almost identical lens flares. And it's the kind of lens flare that Zack Snyder would be proud of. However, there is a difference in the detail between the two. If you look closely, the photo on the left has sharper details than the center photo. And the phone on the right has quite a bit more lens flare. It's kind of spreading right across the photo, which kind of ruins it. Anyway, which one wins in this very difficult lighting condition? And if they all look rubbish to you, well, you can always blame the photographer. Alright, this one is another very challenging shot, but this time for a different reason. The foreground here was very, very dark. The photo on the left has great details, but it's just a little too dark. The photo on the right is incredibly bright, maybe even to the point where you could say it's slightly overexposed. And the middle photo seems to be the most well balanced of the three. It has great colors and details without over or underexposing, so that would be my choice. But what's yours? Right, this one is a good test for how the phones handle white balance at night. Because there's really different approaches to this. Some phones will try and keep the color natural and according to what the actual lighting conditions are. And some phones will recognize the white color and correct it. And that's what we're seeing here in the photo on the left. It's making the white even more white by adding some blue hue into the photo, and I do think it looks good. It's definitely the most eye-catching to me anyway. The center photo looks arguably the most neutral and color accurate, and the image on the right has a kind of green hue, which I'm not a fan of. So the best looking photo to me is definitely the one on the left, but you might disagree, so let me know in the comments. Okay, let me know what you thought of the differences between the Xperia 1 Mark V and Mark VI. Did the Xperia 1 Mark V match or even beat the Mark VI in any of these photos? Or was this a clear win for the brand new Xperia 1 Mark VI? And now, that mystery phone, it was in fact a phone with a 1-inch Type-C Sony sensor with variable aperture. It is, of course, the Xperia Pro I. And I think even though this phone has been out for a while, the hardware has stood up to the test of time in my opinion, and it has definitely helped it in this video in some of the areas. Now, remember that dark shot earlier on in the video that I said I would explain? Well, it was dark because I switched the aperture to f4, which closed it down a little bit and made the image overall a bit too dark. And that's a human error. And yes, even I make those. Now on that topic, if you want to see how the new Sony Xperia Mark VI's upgraded auto mode compares to its pro mode, I took the Xperia 1 Mark VI into central London to take photos of some iconic spots, and that thumbnail's on screen right now, so go check that out. And if you guys enjoyed this video, a little thumbs up would be appreciated. I appreciate you guys for watching this one. If you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man, and I will see you in the next one. Don't be late.